Let's come back to France now, and MPs are debating a bill today that's aimed at dealing with the problem of violent young offenders. In recent years, a number of brutal attacks or killings have been the work of minors under 18 and too often even under 16. A recent poll shows that the issue of violent crime generally has been the second highest priority for French voters. So the question is now, what's being proposed for violent young offenders in this bill? We're going to talk about this with our international affairs editor, Angela Diffley. Angela, this bill concerns the justice system. The police are broadly in favor of it. Just explain a bit more what's in it.
Yeah, I think we have a graphic to show. The first thing to say that a number of these very violent attacks and killings have been committed by not just minors, not just those under 18, but sometimes all too often under 16, as you just said. Now, this bill that's being debated today will only apply to 16 to 18-year-olds. And it is being proposed that the age of criminal responsibility should be lowered from 18 to 16, so that 16-year-olds and above will be treated like adults. That is one measure. The second key measure is that they should appear before a court almost immediately, because there is a problem in that they are rarely immediately seen and they are rarely remanded in custody awaiting trial, which is something that happens much more in other countries. And when they are convicted, even if it's after multiple offences, they are rarely sent to what might be in Britain a Youth Offenders Institute, which is a prison regime for 15 to 18-year-olds. And the police regularly say, we try to do our job, we arrest them, we charge them, they go before a court. In the meantime, they're out there on the streets, released within hours, and can reoffend. And when they do appear, their sentence takes ages to come, and all too often it's too lenient. That's the police point of view. That said, this is not just a problem in France, it's a problem around the world. Knives are too easily available illegally online. We all know that, and very few countries have had much success in dealing with that. That is a clear problem. Drugs are too easily available. Much crime is to do with drug gangs. But above all, this is about a real worry about the normalisation of brutal violence at a very young age. This is just the beginning. This bill was a lot meatier, if you like, before, and was stripped of quite a few elements. Some of them will come back in February to be discussed, but really it only has two key points today.
So what kind of reaction has there been to all of this from the French public?
Well, again, we have a graphic. I think the French public feel clearly that the pendulum has swung too far in favour of the perpetrator and not enough towards the victim. If you look at two of those statistics there, so, 83% of French people interviewed said that they thought the criminal responsibility age should be lowered to 16. More incarceration for minors, 79%. They actually went a lot further. A lot of people in the polls, well over 50%, felt that parents should be sanctioned, that welfare benefits should be removed from parents. That's always very complicated because those parents cannot be entirely responsible for what their young sons do, often big, strong boys, single mothers. It's a difficult problem. And also, very often, single parents have other children in the family that they're trying to look after. It's a very difficult issue. There are even, well over 50% calls for children to be removed from parents who don't show that they're keeping an eye on their activities. So public opinion is firmly in favour of stronger penalties, a tougher line. This was a big issue in the election, and it's back again because of a recent spate in February and again this week, two youngsters brutally killed. So it's second in the list of priorities for the French people at the moment.
This sounds like there's a lot of backing from the far right on this. I mean, talk to us about the politics of all of this.
Well, inevitably, these are areas where politicians position themselves, in some cases posture, in some cases throw around buzzwords. But the left are saying this is clearly inspired by the far right. In fact, the man behind it is former Prime Minister Gabriel Attal, who is firmly from the centre, but who says he recognises that he feels the French justice system is, as the police say, too lax on minors. He has memorably been saying, in a quote that's being very much used at the moment, a youngster, a minor, an under 18-year-old in 1945, when this criminal age of responsibility was first introduced, is nothing like a 16-year-old today, and that should be taken into account. So it's the centre, the right, and the far right who are firmly behind these sorts of measures. But it has to be recognised, as is in many cases around the world, this is no longer just the preserve of the far right or even the mainstream right. It is increasingly a preoccupation if you look at the polls of any French person. And before, people were told that it was a worry about insecurity and law and order that wasn't really factual. The figures appear to show that it is.
All right, Angela, thank you for that. France 24's Angela Diffley.